Praise be to the holy name. Father, I'm coming for you to make this second video, and I make it for your glory and your purpose, so that people will hear your words and not mine. It is not me, this is you that has shown me things that line up with Zechariah 14. And Father, let the people hear thy holy word. Okay, as I was discussing over in the other one how you cannot add to the verses, because Yah's servant 777 did. And you have to go back to the whole chapter to read it. You can't take one little verse. So I'm going to begin in Revelations this time, and then I'll go back to Zechariah. But Revelation 16:12, and this is where I'm going to begin. The 12th verse, it says, the sixth one, that's the sixth angel, sixth one poured out his vial on the great Euphrates River, and its waters dried up, in order to prepare the way for the kings from the east. And I saw three unclean spirits that looked like frogs, that come from the mouth of the dragon. And we know what a dragon was. He's Satan, that got kicked out of heaven. Over in the 10th chapter you can read where that happened, of Revelations. From the mouth of the beast, we can read in it the 12th chapter where the beast come up out of the earth. Let me get that correct. I don't want to misquote anything, because it says not to add nor to subtract or misquote. So let me go back really fast to Revelations over here. Make it right. Okay, the 12th chapter, and also, okay, the 12th chapter is where Satan is kicked out. The 13th chapter is where the beast comes up. And also in the 13th chapter, the false prophet. So let's read it again. And I saw three unclean spirits that looked like a frog, that come from the mouth of the dragon, Satan, from the mouth of the beast, and from the mouth of the false prophet. The triune, trying to mock God. God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This is what it's representing, is the triune here, working together to deceive the world. Now, talking about these false prophets, there are miracle-working demon spirits. And they're not zombies either. They're out busily doing things, and zombies are restless and not prone to have a lot of activity, only but kind of dragging along the ground. But anyway, the demonistic spirits which come out to the kings of the whole inhabited world, to assemble them for the war of the great day of Adonai. Look, I am coming as a thief. Who said that? Jesus, Yahshua said, I'm going to come as a thief in the night. How blessed are those who stand alert and keep their clothes clean, so that they won't be walking naked and be publicly put to shame. And they gathered the kings to the place which in Hebrew is called Armageddon. The seventh one poured out his bowl in the air, and a loud voice came out of the temple from the throne, saying, It is done. There were flashings of light, pearl voices and pearls of thunder, and there was a massive earthquake, such as never occurred since mankind has been on earth, so violent as the earthquake. And the great city was split into 3 parts. We'll go back over there to Zechariah and see this. The cities of the nations fell, and God remembered Babylon the Great and made her drink the wine from the cup of his raging fury. Every island fled, no mountains were to be found, and huge 70-pound hailstones fell on people from the sky. But the people cursed God for the plague of hail that was such a terrible plague. Okay. And I want to go to fit it in. Okay. Why? You remember when I said when Judah, no, I'm going to go back there and show, no, I want to go back now. I don't want nobody to accuse me of saying something I ain't supposed to say. But back over here in Zechariah, let me see. In Zechariah, the 14th, beginning at the 2nd verse, it says, "For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem for war." I just read that in Revelations. I did say Zechariah 14, did I not? I hope I did. "The city will be taken, and the houses will be rifled, the women will be raped, and half the city will go into exile, but the rest of the city will not be cut off from, but the rest of the people will not be cut off from the city. And Adonai will come out and fight against the nations, fighting as on a day of battle. And on that day his feet will stand on Mount Olive, which lies to the east of Jerusalem, and the Mount of Olive will be split from east to west to make a huge valley." Wow. That would be an earthquake and a half, wouldn't it? Splitting Mount Olive in half. Half of the mountain will move towards the north and half of it towards the south. Wouldn't that be awesome to see our King of Kings standing on Mount Olive and it splitting in half? It's such an earthquake that's never been an earthquake over there like that, to split a mountain in two and move it, one half of it one way and one half of it another way. "You will flee into the valley in the mountain, for the valley in the mountain will reach Zerel. You will flee just as you fled before the earthquake in the day of Yahshua king of Judah. Then Adonai, my God, will come to you with all the holy ones." This was back here in Revelation 16. Starting with the 12th, it described it exactly. It described what it said. "And on that day there will be neither bright light nor dark cloud, and one day known to Adonai will neither day nor night, although by evening there will be light. And on that day fresh water will flow from Jerusalem, half towards the east and half towards the west, both summer and winter. And then Adonai will be king over the whole world. And on that day Adonai will be the only one, and his name will be the only one." Now, I mentioned something about Judah, you know, the other day. Hush, hush, hush. That would fight, because nations would fight against Jerusalem. And what is in Jerusalem? What is in Jerusalem at this point that all the nations would gather together and want to fight? Well, if you remember in chapter 11 in Revelations, it says, I was given a measuring rod like the stick and told, go up and measure the temple of God and the altar and count how many people are worshiping there. But the court outside the temple, leave that out. Don't measure it, because it has been given to the Gentiles, and they will trample over the holy city for 42 months. Okay, we can see who's in Jerusalem. We can see what's going on in Jerusalem that will be causing all of this strife and all of this turmoil that's going on. The whole chapter is talking, because right at the first verse of 14 it says, look, a day is coming of Adonai when the plumber, that's Jerusalem, will be divided right there within you. Well, at this point you can see the reason why the war is there is because we've heard it over and over. That Daniel speaks of it. Other places speak of it, but Daniel especially tells us how that this man of evil will come up and he's going to take over Jerusalem. And he will be in the city of Jerusalem. And he will be declaring that he is God. Why would all the nations gather against him? Not just because of the Jews, but because of this man standing there saying, I am God of gods. I am God. Even the Muslims would not go with that, because there's only one God in their belief, and that God is Allah. Israel and Judah would go against him because what? They believe only one God, Yahweh. They don't believe in more than one God, so they would not really totally accept. Once he raises up and he says, I'm God, and there's going to be a war. And it says, all the land will be made like the Advra from Garam to Ramam in it's lands on the other side of Jerusalem and Jerusalem will be raised up. Well, he's saying, where it says that the land after the earthquake happens and the mountain is divided, then the land will become flat. It will be a flat land, like an awesome flat land, fertile and rich, to be one day inhabited again after this. But Jerusalem be raised up and inhabited where she is, from Benjamin's gate to the place where the early gate stood, and on the corner gate, and from the tower of Hermon to the king's press. People will live there. The curse will be broken, and Jerusalem will live in safety. Okay, here we are. I'm going to read it again. Where he misquoted. 12, it actually says, Adonai will strike all the people who made war against Jerusalem with a plague in which their flesh will rot away while they stand on their feet, and their eyes rot away in their sockets, and their tongues rot away in their mouth. And when the day comes, there will be among them great panic sent by Adonai, so that each one lays hand on his neighbor, who in turn attacks him. Judah too will fight against Jerusalem. And this is where I was saying, this is why Judah is fighting against Jerusalem, because that beast is sitting there on Mount, saying, I'm God.